Heyo everyone, DC from the deeceelife channel here. This is a very exciting movie review for me as I, for once, am able to review a movie before its nationwide release. I'm talking about James Gunn's Superman, and I got to see it through Amazon Prime's early screening, thank you Amazon, and I have so many thoughts that I would love to discuss with you. First off, I have other videos on my YouTube channel like this one on Malaysia Food Paradise parts 1 and 2 and the official handbook of the Marvel Universe volumes 1 through 3. Please check them out and don't forget to subscribe, like, and ring the bell icon for more notifications of great content coming your way. Now back to Superman, let's discuss. Basic plot: Superman has revealed himself to the world 3 years ago and is beloved as the savior of humanity. He's known to the world as the most powerful meta-human, which unnerves world leaders, especially Lex Luthor, who has been chipping away at Superman's pristine reputation through social media defamation efforts in the shadows while forming a team of meta-humans of his own to destroy Superman and amass political power. Superman teams up with his unruly superdog Krypto and celebrated reporter and girlfriend Lois and a small ragtag group of meta-humans to stop Lex Luthor and the destruction of the world. So from this point onwards, I'm moving straight into spoiler territory because I want a robust discussion with everyone who has seen the movie. And for those who haven't seen the movie, pause the video right here, go see the movie in the theaters, and then please come back and discuss because I really want to nerd out with all of you. Save this video and come back and join the discussion. So spoiler alert. Let's address this from the get-go, the SnydeVerse. I love the SnydeVerse. I've actually made a 4-part series on my YouTube channel about should we restore the SnydeVerse, and my conclusion at the end is absolutely yes. Henry Cavill is the most Superman-looking Superman to me, and I absolutely think that he was done dirty by WBD and a little bit James Gunn with having him announce his return.
I wanted to make it official that I am back as Superman.
Only to not hire him because James Gunn wants to start over and use a younger Superman, but then he wants to keep his Peacemaker and keep his wife and his brother on the payroll. It's just not a good look, and it's unnecessarily dividing the fandom, which I don't think is a very smart business move. Bottom line is that I'm a DC fan first. I love Superman first. And even though I love Snyder and his action scenes and his cinematography, which we will talk about in relation to how James Gunn approaches this, and I love his great cast, I'm also someone who can love something and call out things that I don't agree with, that I maybe not like. And that's going to happen even here in this movie review. So it's becoming evident to me over time, since James Gunn was hired to lead the DCU, that WBD is hanging on by a thread financially. And to a certain extent, I understand why James Gunn's Superman is less about Superman and more about establishing the DCU. However, the execution of laying the groundwork for the DCU feels very old WB, meaning throw things at the wall and see what sticks. Creature Commandos, Clayface, Supergirl movie before Batman or Wonder Woman, the Teen Titans. It just feels very like discombobulated with no direction, and let's just try this, try that, and if that gets greenlit, let's do that thing with no plan from this is the first movie and will lead up to, I don't know, the Justice League or something like that. So major positives. Absolutely the lead cast. David Corenswet is a great Superman. He really is. He has captured the heart of Superman very well. It's not perfect, but it's really good. I love the whole compassionate side of him and wanting to save everybody, even a squirrel. That's all really, really awesome. I love that. He's just good. There's no need to deconstruct him. It's essentially his parents just raised him to be good, so he is. It's not that complicated, and I love that. He wants to save everybody, the kaiju, the squirrel, the little girl. The saving the little girl in the trailer that's been repeated to the umpteenth heaven looks way better in the trailer, because in the movies, you can actually see the girl prepare to bend down before Superman shows up. And I don't know how much of it is. We've just seen it so many times that when it shows up in the movie, it's like, oh, here we go. He's saving the girl, which I love. Moments where Superman is just saving people. I love that. Another thing that they captured is how hopelessly in love he is with Lois. There's a moment when they fight and Lois says that, I knew this wouldn't work. This relationship wouldn't work. And you can see the heartbreak, the hurt in that statement through David Corenswet's performance. It's just so beautifully done. And he confronts her about it and doesn't really get an answer, and he just kind of moves on. It's later addressed. But the chemistry between David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan is just so well done. And let's get to Lois. Amazing Lois. A strong, goes for what she wants, not afraid to ask difficult questions, right? I love the idea how mistrusting she is, and in juxtaposition to Superman or Clark's very trusting nature. And you can see why sparks would fly because of that. The interview that she has with Clark in the trailer wasn't as effective as it is in the movie, because it really established their chemistry. The conflict was a great story point to tell about their relationship. She is definitely my favorite Lois Lane. The one in Smallville is pretty cool too.
Oh, come on, Smallville, you killed me.
All the strength of Lois Lane as a Pulitzer Prize winning reporter is all there in Rachel Brosnahan's performance. And on top of that, she's stunning. She's really, really beautiful. I love the fact that they dressed her down to kind of look like the go-getter reporter, right? But at the same time, you can just see that she is stunning. She's just beautiful. And when she's all dolled up at the press junkets, a great actress and just beautiful at the same time. Coming back to the interview/argument scene, one of the reasons why it didn't work in the trailer is because, as much as I love David Corenswet's performance as Superman, we got a very boyish Clark Kent. Why are you not listening to me?
Well, we're going to die!
Superman is not supposed to be boyish. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be emotional. I don't really have an answer to it, but what I see is just him screaming all the time, and we get a really screamy Superman.
They've always been wrong about me. I get scared, that is being human.
Superman freaks out a lot in this movie. It's not very Superman to me. I love the fact that this Superman cries, this Superman gets upset, this Superman has puppy dog love for Lois Lane. I love all of that. But I think they need to kind of find a balance of having him be emotional and not be screamy, not be boyish in the approach. He says the whole, like, go ahead, Cronkite, right? And then he sits up and deepens his voice and he goes,
Miss Lane.
And what's interesting is you don't get to see this as effectively as in the trailer, right? And it's a little bit of a callback to the Christopher Reeve performance. However, then as he gets more upset and he gets screamy, then he loses all the trust that was earned within those 2 seconds. And I love these Southern boy-isms.
What the hey, dude?
They've established that Jonathan Kent is a softie, cries a lot. To a certain extent, I don't mind that. And Martha Kent goes like, oh, mush, he's a mushy or something like that. I love all of that. And I love that Superman does that, which shows his Southern upbringing. However great that is, immediately we have to forget about all of that because we are overwhelmed by the connected universe, the Justice Gang, Lex Luthor's crazy plan. There is a whole bunch of supporting cast characters that are basically like, what are they doing? Why are they even there? Perry White, Cat Grant, Steve Lombard, all fun and great characters in the Daily Planet world, they had nothing to do in this movie. If they were not there, this movie would have been fine. Let's talk about Jimmy Olsen. I'm really happy with the casting of Jimmy Olsen. Now, if any character who should look boyish, it's Jimmy Olsen. Though he almost seems a little smoother in his approach with women. When was Jimmy Olsen ever smooth with the ladies? The actor casted has such a boyish, innocent look about him that it almost takes me out of the movie when they show girls like kind of gawking and to have Eve, Tessmarker, I think that's the character's name, who is from the Christopher Reeve movies. The fact that Jimmy is not interested in this girl, but is using her for information, that is just so not Jimmy Olsen. When I first saw Krypto in the official teaser trailer, the whistle, snow cloud, and him running really quickly to rescue Superman, I loved all of that. I love the fact that Krypto is in this movie universe because it tells me that this movie universe is going to be unapologetically comic booky, and I love that. As we got more and more scenes of Krypto, we're starting to get the idea that Krypto is less of a character in the movie and more of an agent of chaos and a tool for laughs. There's almost no redeeming moment with this dog. I don't understand why he turned Krypto into this one-dimensional tool for jokes instead of letting the dog be just more than just visually lovable and actually make him lovable. Give him a personality and a story to tell. It's just a missed opportunity here. Once again, I want to say that I love David Corenswet's performance. I love it so much that I really want this new movie universe to succeed so that we can get to see more of this Superman. But he lacks alpha vibes, or like aura, essentially. The fact that Krypto doesn't listen to Superman at all, right? If you watch The Dog Whisperer and Cesar Milan talks about the energy of an assertive leader, Superman absolutely does not give any assertive leadership vibes at all. This dog does not see Superman as master. Absolutely not. And how about the other moment when Superman and the Justice Gang are fighting the kaiju? And Superman says, hey, don't hurt the kaiju, because let's try to save it and I can work on rehabilitating it, right? Does the Justice Gang listen to Superman? Absolutely not. And Superman just goes like, oh, shucks, they're not listening to me. What I would love to have seen, Superman grabs Guy Gardner's arm or something like that. I said, let's save the monster. And have everybody go, oh, okay, I guess we have to listen to this Superman. I don't want him to be murderous or Superman, like Lord, if you will, right? I don't want that. But can he just assert a little bit, like, this is what I think should be done, and you're all gonna do it with me? There's no alpha vibe in this Superman. So let's talk about cameos. Bradley Cooper is Jor-El. And it turns out that Jor-El says, supposedly, that Superman is supposed to conquer the earth and even have many wives in a harem or something like that. I don't mind this video kind of makes him question his call as a hero. I don't mind that. But I really don't like them going the Jor-El is evil route. I just hope that it's revealed that Lex Luthor just manipulated the footage to defame Superman. The people in this movie, in the world, are so naive. They see footage and they believe. It could have been done better, is what I'm saying. Peacemaker makes a cameo as well, and it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it reminds you of the way James Gunn handled Henry Cavill's situation. Some goofs that I noticed in the movie. The Superman shot of him flying and he does a twirl and his eyes are a little off. I think it's fascinating that someone as attractive as David Corenswet, basically this guy is so attractive that they're hiring him to play Superman, who is basically the ideal man, can actually also be dogged on. Superman's boot at a certain point was really like distorted, and most people were explaining that it's because it's a fisheye lens. How did a shot like that get past James Gunn? But it's in the movie. It's so interesting in this day and age where you have people nitpicking everything, even in a movie trailer, and have that be called out, and the multi-million-dollar production has no time to fix it. The folds on Superman's costume, and mostly everybody else's costume, is definitely fixed in post. We don't notice most of the folds. I don't think so. I have no problems with the brighter colors or the shorts, the briefs on the outside. But I still think that they're not great designs. These costumes are not flattering to the actors. There's one scene where he's captured and he's coming out of the plane or the helicopter, and it's just this front shot of Superman being handcuffed in his costume, and he's walking down the steps. He literally looked like an enlarged I or an L, like with the font raised up to like 86. It was just straight down. And you know David Corenswet worked really hard, right? He looks great in like regular clothes when he's Clark Kent. So to have regular clothes be more flattering than the actual Superman costume is a little bit unfortunate. And then to add to that, everybody else's costumes are not flattering. Essentially, everybody's costumes are just kind of meh. Like, nothing really stands out. And that is where Snyder does better. Snyder is all about his heroes be idealistic, and I like that. Everyone is idealistic in the comic book world. It's entertainment. I don't feel necessarily pressured to look like Superman. A superhero costume should flatter the actor. I'm just saying. Important supporting characters. Guy Gardner. Nathan Fillion is just a master at comedic timing. He just acts that part really well. Like, he's annoying, he's self-centered, but kind of lovable at the same time. And I love the fact that at one point he mentions the Green Lantern Corps. And I really hope that we get to see more of the Green Lanterns, and hopefully they have better costumes. Mr. Terrific, he's the scene stealer. But just out of all the supporting characters, James Gunn just chose to emphasize Mr. Terrific. So of course, he's a little bit of a scene stealer because he's in most of his scenes. Eddie Carthegi did a great job. I love he's so smart that he's frustrated with, not stupidity, but just people can't catch up to his intelligence, right? There's a moment where he gets frustrated with Lois calling his spheres circles, and he's like, a sphere is three-dimensional. Like, why would you call that a circle? There's that really great end credit scene. The second one, though, could have been just regularly in the movie, and it would have been better for Supergirl showing up, and then have it be like that's the next big DCU movie, right? Wouldn't that be a better end credit scene? But anyways, this end credit scene, I actually think it's endearing. Superman and Mr. Terrific are looking at this crack at the building, and Superman's kind of like, hey, it's not even. And again, Mr. Terrific is just annoyed at just Superman is so slow. He was saying, like, what do you want me to do? Put it apart and bring it back together? Is that what you want? And he walks off like he kind of kicks a rock and is like annoyed, like, these people just don't understand. They're just so slow, right? Goes back to Superman, and Superman's like, man, I shouldn't have said that. I can be such a jerk. I love that. It just captures both persona so well. The 360 action scene, which is very typical of James Gunn, I suppose. And we have one with Mr. Terrific. While Lois Lane is being protected in a force field, Mr. Terrific is just taking out Lex Luthor's goons, right? And it's a 360 shot. Like you're just from Lois Lane's perspective, everyone is being taken out around her by Mr. Terrific while there's a silly punk rock song. Especially when we know that Mr. Terrific is a master at martial arts, right? So let's confirm. What? Are you kidding? That's how Mr. Terrific used to look like in the 80s? I'm just saying, he could have fought a little better. Fuck girl. My question is, why are you in this movie? What a waste of an awesome character. And on top of that, her mace has no nth metal like powers. It's just a mace. Why would anyone want to see more of Hawk Girl after this? Ultraman. What a waste of a character. Maybe him being trapped in the other dimension at the end could lead to the crime syndicate? Or is it just me, or does that whole scene give like Phantom Zone vibes? Doomsday maybe? Zod? Confirmed for sure it is not Henry Cavill. First off, they don't deserve Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill should not come back and just play Ultraman. Are you serious? Absolutely not. Not only did you not hire him, and then you hire him to just play a side character, I would be offended for Henry Cavill if he actually did that. So it's so silly there was a rumor of him doing that. And no way does that even lead back to the SnydeVerse anyways. Metamorpho. I thought the actor did fine. You know, there's an element of kind of innocence about him. What is up with that CGI baby? That couldn't be more like low-level CGI. I don't know. Like, I was not a big fan of the baby. The kryptonite scene of how Superman looked more and more disfigured as he got more and more poisoned by the kryptonite. And I loved how David Corenswet was begging Lex to not kill Malik, I think, the burrito guy, which leads me to Lex Luthor. Nicholas Hoult acted really well in that scene. I thought he was exceptionally evil, exceptionally hateable, if that's the right word. When you talk about Lex Luthor, you have to point out Jesse Eisenberg. And there are a lot of things that I love about the SnydeVerse. Jesse Eisenberg is not one of them. His take of Lex Luthor and Snyder has a lot to do with it.
Problems up here.
Not a big fan. Absolutely not a big fan. Nicholas Holt's take is a much better take, but it's not a standout. I think you can see that Nicholas Hoult is a great actor, and I've loved him in other movies. The performance is fine, but the script for Lex Luthor isn't that great. He's a little kind of too emotional, too easily riled up. We don't really know why Lex is the way he is in the movie. I think at one point he mentioned that he's on the level of Einstein and other geniuses, and then here comes this guy in a silly suit and just gets all the attention, right? Maybe there's a little bit of envy with that, and he even said in the movie where he said like envy is just a waste of time type of thing, which is kind of cool. I don't know, like he's so reckless. His whole point is to control Janipathur. I'm probably butchering that country, that nation's name. And mind you, that country only has 100 people like fighting in the desert. I'm just saying. That was his whole point, right? Is to be able to control that nation, half of that nation or whatever. And why would he recklessly just decide to destroy the entire planet? What was he getting at? All I can say is the best Lex Luthor is still Michael Rosenbaum and Clancy Brown. Superman's speech.
But that is being human, and that's my greatest strength.
I actually loved it in the trailer. It's less effective in the movie. Like, this is why I am the way I am, right? And to a certain extent, I think James Gunn himself doesn't believe what he just wrote about Superman. It doesn't even give that moment a chance to breathe. And he immediately sticks Krypto attacking Lex Luthor and making a joke out of it. The speech is not effective in the movie, and James Gunn spoiled it anyways. So in conclusion, I like this movie, especially David Corenswet's performance. And because of that, I would love to see more. I really like this version of Superman, who is brighter, more hopeful, kind, compassionate, and wants to save everybody. Essentially, a little less deconstructed. But he is less indestructible, and maybe not as powerful as he should be. I think Snyder portrayed that a lot better. And it's also a very typical comic book trope to depower the character to tell a better story. I think Superman's power levels are fine as it is, and you can still tell a great story without depowering him. Besides, he has a weakness already in kryptonite, and that can level the playing field and you can tell a great story. Lex Luthor was onto something in this movie by choosing to hurt people that are associated with Superman to gain leverage. And that in itself is a story to tell. You don't need to depower him. But again, I love this version of Superman. I really hope they get to improve on the look of the DCU, especially Superman's costume. Actually, everybody else's costume. Maybe have somebody else decide on what the costumes should be. James Gunn shouldn't be it. But the heart of Superman is captured well, and I hope that they will be able to explore that even more. Obviously, would love to see more of Superman's relationship with Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane, and would love to see more of the supporting cast in the future movies. I think to want to tell a story of a more hopeful DCU is a good thing, at least a more hopeful Superman. I think it should be a little bit of everything. Like Wonder Woman can bring in the fantasy of gods and monsters, the true gods and monsters, if you will, and Batman can bring in the dark and gritty. I hope that I've given you a lot to go with to join in the discussion in the comment section down below. And please tell me what your thoughts are of this Superman movie. And what are your thoughts of the things that I've pointed out? So of course, please subscribe, like, and ring the bell icon for more videos coming your way. And remember, life's too short, live it fully. DC from the DC Life channel signing out, and I will see you in the next video.